Merp, merp, merp. Why am I logged out? That's weird. Well, I'll bounce around CodePen a little bit. They theoretically improved our feeds the other day. Provider we use for that. Oh, that's nice. I don't know you, L. From Seattle. Wild. Merp. Clearly talented developer. Whoa. Cool. I'm not super sure what I'm looking at there. Oh, it's a shader deal. There we go. What is Kevin doing with dialogues? JavaScript dialogues. You think he'd be playing with command invokers, if anything. What is that? Is that an HTML button that's been just messed with? I love it. It has calculated steps with different filters at each set. Squiggly 3 and 4 and 2 and 1. Funny. And the SVG filters have, oh, I see. It's an HTML include. Let's see. It's so interesting to see what features of CodePen people use. So this HTML gets included in the other one, and it has filters in it. Squiggly 1, squiggly 2, squiggly 3, squiggly 4. That's the old classic. I think it's a David Courtsheet original if I'm correct. Where's the little X? Close yourself. All right, some people came in. I was just exploring CodePen, kind of a fun thing to do before people come in. Check out what my friends are doing. Yeah, that's fun. Wow. More points. Less points. Cool. Anyway, I'm already distracted. I am going to make a new pan. I'm going to do it in a new tab. Editor pan. And my idea today is, just self-serving for myself, but it's to learn use cases for attr. We probably are going to need some notes because I want to keep some notes on the use cases I find for attr. It's like one of those things that are like, you just know it's there and you use it when you use it. I guess we could do the most basic thing in the world, right? Like h2 string usage, which is like div, and we'll call it like use case 1 with nothing in it. And I don't know, data text equals, and then my name or something, and then dot use case 1. I guess you have to do an after in order to use content. Content is the attribute of data text, And that should show up underneath string usage there. And you can't select it. It's a little weird. Is that really a use case? That's the kind of thing where I'm like, I don't know. That's how it works, but I'm not sure it's a use case. What was I going to say? There's like use cases that are like that though, where you know, like maybe you have the text in here too, and now you have two copies of it, and you could position absolute one on top of the other, and then what? Like, is that cool? Does that unlock anything? It's probably something you could do with a text shadow, but a text shadow you couldn't, like, I don't know, rotate differently or anything. You could move it. I don't know. So an aesthetic effect for duplicating text, maybe. So if we did, I don't know, rotate 1 degree or something, is that even going to work? Probably not, because it's not a block. Does it have to be display block for rotation to work? Yes. So 2 degrees, 3 degrees, I don't know, -3. And then how do you put it behind? Maybe then we also go pause absolute left 0, top 0. So then they really will be on top of each other, or that is, if this is position relative, they would be. That's kind of a cool look, I guess. And then we could do like a red-blue thing, right? Like color blue, color red. Isn't that kind of a old school effect or something? I don't know. So use case 1 is string usage aesthetics. Like, I don't know. That's a cool look. And look, you can do it now. Is it beautiful? You got to repeat the text twice. It's got to be identical. You know, it's not like amazing, but that could be a reason you would reach for it. I don't hate that conceptually. Is there more use cases though? I've written about this before, so I kind of want to read what I have written. And it says, for columns, colors, and font size, fine. I start out talking about the same way and how you can just use it as a string, but classically the string usage isn't that useful. But recently, and I think it's really only in Chrome only, yeah. I just looked today and it was still Chrome only, so how do I now change over time? Oh, I'm just linking to can I use. Nothing in the previews or anything yet for this, so pretty limited, but here I am in, you know, Arc or Chrome 140, relatively recent, so cool. Is columns good? Let's do our own for columns because it seems straightforward-ish. So use case 2 would be like, I don't know, layout control or something, which for integers. So we'll go like use case 2 has some text in it, I guess. And can we just use it for, and then if it's a div, we're really not supposed to just make up an attribute, right? So data calls equals, I don't know, 2. So for, oh my gosh, well, how did that get integrated? Was that just some AI thing? Not part of CodePen. I just upgraded to the new Mac OS 26 or whatever it is, now that's year-based. Columns 2. Is that enough to make it 2 columns? It totally is. Look at that. Oops, I've overlapped my browser window a little bit here in the old stream. There you go. So columns 2, could we use the data attribute for that instead? We can. We go attribute, data text is not going to work. You have to go number or whatever. So what is the syntax? Do you have to have a comma when you do this? Attribute, blah, 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 blah. Syntax. No, it's just a space. And then you just say type. Yeah, see, I would have never remembered that. I think that's weirdly hard to remember. Data, and it's not data text, it's data calls. That's going to work. And just, I guess, to prove it, it wasn't because I had the data attribute wrong. That will not work, right? you have to do type, I don't know, specifying in order to get that to work. And then how do you do a fallback? Is that part of the syntax as well? Is that what the comma is? Yeah, with fallback. So the fallback here is 1, but I guess that's kind of the same of it as it just failing. So that is fine, unless we, it's theoretical that you'd want to do 2. And then if you just didn't put the HTML there at all, it's still 2. So it's still in 2 columns. Kind of cool. But we could say 4. Is that even going to fit? At what point does the browser give up on that type of thing because of the we have going on? I guess we don't need this sidebar here. 4. Okay, fine. We'll put 3. That's kind of cool. It's a little bit like an inline style, but notably it's not an inline style. And what's kind of cool about it is that because now you can do more things than an inline style could. You're kind of making this a declarative design control, and that if it has data calls on it, you could go and data calls, then it also has a gap, but it doesn't have the gap if there are no columns. I guess that doesn't matter that much. Does just the gap work? It does, right? Is that, yeah, cool. So the gap is there if it needs to be, otherwise it's not there, is kind of neat. And it's like a little bit more of a design system kind of thing. It's just better to me than going style equals columns to here, because then you have to be like, oh, then I need the gap also. And instead you're kind of abstracting away this really specific stuff for something that's more generic, and that you get more control in the end. You're like being declarative, but you have more control, because you could also say like, oh, I don't know, that there's a media query that doesn't allow columns at all at a certain point, right? And you can say at media where the width of the screen is less than 400 pixels, then just don't columns, just auto it up or whatever. So that'll just go to one column, and it'll only kick into columns when there's like theoretically enough room to do so. That's now baked into this logic, which is neat. I guess we could just put that, I don't know, on the use case thing. I don't know. I guess it's fine the way it is. That feels like an actual use case for typed attributes to me. That's neat. That's cool. I like it. This is a little bit like, sure, okay. All right. Let's look at some others then. As I was writing, just referencing myself, as I guess. So just naming a color that you want. So data color. Okay, what else did I do? Oh, I set the color and the background color, which again is like a little bit of an API kind of situation. That's neat. I can just steal this directly, I guess, but we can write it from scratch. So we'd say H2, I don't know, like color usage or something, because usage meaning like you're not just setting the color, you're like making a little color machine for yourself. So use case 3, I guess it's just more lorem ipsum text, and then there's a couple of spans involved, and we say data highlight maybe in gold. So that's now a color. Okay, so use case 3. I guess we don't really need to scope it in here, but it's kind of neat. So data highlight. If any element has that, what I want to do is set the background color to whatever they asked for. So attribute of data color is not going to work because it's just a string. It doesn't know that it's a color. I have to go to space, type, parentheses, angle brackets, super weird, color, close, and that will probably work. It doesn't. Data highlight gold in use case 3. Now it kind of looks like it should work actually. So let's inspect that span. It has the background color. Maybe color is not a correct type. That's possible. I just guessed at color. What are the possible types? Data name, raw string. Raw string is one. That's one. No, it is one. Color. So what do you think I did wrong there? Data highlight. So it's going to match this span, and the background of the span has a background color of data highlight. Ooh, it's data highlight, not data color. There you go. That's going to be gold now. And then we would lighten it up or darken it or something, right? We'd say color is color mix of, what would be interesting to do in this case is be like original color is this. Then the background color is like a darkened version of it. So we could say color mix in sRGB or OKLCH or something. I don't think it matters that much in this case. I don't know, for darkness, probably not so much. And then we take the original color, mix it with black of like 30% or something. Did I get that syntax right? Kind of. And then we do the same thing, but mix it with white. Not light, white. That's kind of good. How about more white? And then like if it has this at all, there's like padding of 2.5 rem and border radius of 10 pixels or something. Yeah, so it's like some highlighted thing. I don't know if that's like the coolest way to do it in the world, but you pass in a color and you get a darkened version of it behind it and a lightened version from it up front. And then you could do that for any color and it would take anything at all. So span, oops, if I hit Command-Shift-A, I thought it was Command-Shift-A. Oh, it already is around there. Span, Command-Shift-A, span. Data, color, and then it could be whatever. So we could go to oklch.com and pick out it doesn't have to be OKLCH. I'm just proving it can be something weird, probably. This could be a value that's sitting in the HTML. And it would probably attempt to figure that out, wouldn't it? OKLCH should come in. Oh, data, again, I keep saying data color, but it's data highlight. Please work. Yeah, right on. Okay. Color usage. We did it. That's interesting. And we're doing multiple things with a single value that comes in, which to me makes it like more interesting than just like take value, use value. What else did I say? For font sizes. Oh, okay. So this one, again, does something a little bit more interesting than just like take value, use value. It's setting the font size and then it's rounding it to the nearest 5 pixels. So if I say 5 pixel rounding, these two become the same. So you're not allowing just anybody to do anything, which is kind of a design system thing I've heard from design systems people is that, you give people too much control. They use really fine-grained stuff and there's a little less consistency than you might want in your final output. This is saying like you can use any font size you want as long as it rounds to 5 pixels. So that's kind of fun. Should we try to write it ourselves? I know I've written it before. I'm not trying to be disingenuous or anything, but I'm not very, my memory isn't great. Rounding font sizes. Use case for P. Well, should we try to do this with Emmett? P times 4 with an attribute on it. What is wrong with me? Data font size equals tab. All right, that didn't save us that much time, but it was fine. So 2 is really, really small, and hopefully it would round up to 5. And 11 would maybe round down to 10. 17 would round down to 15, and 24 maybe would round up to 25. That's what we're shooting for. Interesting. I'm going to copy that, but then I'm going to go back in time to this too, so I can go lorem 8. Oh, bummer. Is it confused that it's not Emmett anymore? I'm going to try to write it from scratch. Sometimes it forgets what it's doing. P times 4 attribute data font size, and inside is lorem 8, which is just 8 characters of stuff. Then it has tab stops in there. So what did we say? 2 tab, 11 tab, 16 tab, 24. That's what we're hoping to set as these sizes. So now we're on to use case 4. Use case 4. If a thing in there has a data font size on it, then the font size is the attribute of data font size, and it's of type. Do you just say number all the time, or do you have to say like float or angle, color, ident, image, integer, length percentage, number? Probably number? What's the difference between number and... Oh, it extends the syntax of integer, and it means it can be fractional. That's fine. I think I want to be adaptable there, right? So we'd say this type is of number. So if somebody wants to put 4.8 or something, we want to allow that. And then should it have a fallback of 10, I guess? Sure. And then the font size, well, it's a number, but how do you make it like in pixels then? Interesting. So all these paragraphs have it on there. What is happening to it now? Why are they all... Is it failing kind of? Type of number. Or 10. Do you just put like... Oh, maybe you have to calc it or something? So like calc, whatever that is, times 1 pixel to like get it into something that... Yeah, that sort of worked. Look at how tiny that one is. Bigger, bigger, bigger. So now we got it into pixels by calculating it. But what we really want to do is do that rounding thing. So we should just look it up. Round in CSS, which it should be pretty straightforward, I would think. Well, you can round up or down or to 0. Oh, that's funny. But we just want to, I don't think we care. I want it to go up or down to the nearest 5 pixels. So it's really as simple as that. Do we need... I think we need it in the calc. We'd round it after we do the calc. And it would be to the nearest 5 pixels. So now, is this doing what we want it to do? If that's 5, that's... Oh, where's the first one? Did it round to 0? Or the 2 did round to 0, didn't it? So you could also have a min around the whole thing. I guess. There's a lot of parentheses around it, but you'd want to say, I want it to be, or the max, or wait. Yeah, max. I want it to pick the biggest one, So if it calculated all the way down to 2 pixels or 0 pixels, I would want it to pick 5 pixels instead of 0. Okay, so that's the 5 pixel one right there. Let's see if that's how it actually calculated too. That is a lot of stuff. Oh, why did it cross off both values? That's confusing, but it's clearly doing some work here. So just the output in DevTools here feels a little wrong to me. But we could see the computed value of font size and see what it picked. Yeah, 5 pixels, which is what we'd expect because we're trying to round 2 pixels by 5 pixel increments, which goes to 0, which rounds up to 5. Fine. So this next one will be based on our HTML here. 11 should round to 10. Does that compute to 10? It does. The next one should round to 15. It does. And 24 should round to 25. It does. Okay, that's what we want. Looks a little weird, but you know, there we go. So now you have this API that's pretty flexible, but it doesn't allow anybody to just do anything they want. You've put some bumpers around it, which is kind of neat. And then you could do other things as well. Like, oh, you set font size in that way. Maybe you want to change the font family or something then too. I don't know. So that's kind of cool. Is that enough use cases? I have a little sore throat and it's making me a little tired or something. This is interesting too. This is Tamani saying the custom. Oh yeah, you're getting these bubbles, quote unquote, for free because you have to use values like this in HTML for the progress element anyway. And now they have to be there anyway for the progress element to do that it wants to do. Now you can pluck them off and use it. That's interesting that you can just hit a max on it right away. Oh wait, that's the name of the attribute. It's a number and has a fallback of 1. Okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm sure he's doing a lot more interesting things here. I know he is. I edited this probably. And but really the bubble using the attribute function is really kind of the coolest thing to me. That is worth just putting in the notes, I think, so I don't forget. I didn't write very many notes. But that kind of stuff is great. That should be enough to kind of explain how useful it is. They all to me seem like a little bit of like, I don't know, grade C use cases though. Like not ones that are like, ooh, damn, you know, that's amazing. I want to use that. You know, but maybe that's okay. You know, not everything needs that, but still, I'd like to feel one that was like, maybe I'll look through the CodePen code base. Are we doing it in any particularly interesting place? I'm hoping for more because I remember when this came out, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this really unlocks a lot of possibility here. And then time goes on and you're like, what? But it turns out I haven't used it that much, but it's really good to know that I can. But that's not always the best. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I just wanted to stream for a little while where I was thinking out this attribute stuff. If you have one, feel free to reach out to me any way that you'd like to. Hit me with a super cool use case for it. See ya tomorrow.